I don't think there's any doubt about it in my mind that the guy that the Eagles are preparing for more than anybody is Travis Kelce. I mean, obviously the quarterback that, obviously you're preparing for that. But in terms of the, everyone else, Kelce is the guy you have to pay attention to. Everyone kind of, I feel like most people at least did not love the Tyreek Hill trade from the Chiefs' perspective. But one of the reasons why, Kyle and I on the podcast kept saying this is different than the Devontae Adams trade, even if we disliked both, is because they still had an elite receiver. It is Travis Kelce who is dominant and is still playing at a super high level and could be the difference in the Super Bowl. He is that good. But the Eagles are no slouch in coverage. What can they do to counteract all of this stuff? Well, first, let's look at this. These are the two guys that we have to talk about. These are the guys who will be, tasked to stop Travis Kelce, and you have to think TJ Edwards is going to be the main guy here. You see that, these are the PFF grades and where they do in specific categories. Edwards with a 77.1 grade. Kaiser White's still been good for them. These guys tend to get around 40 snaps a game each. They pretty much get the same amount of snaps, interestingly enough. But I would imagine Edwards is going to do the heavy lifting, but White will definitely be on Kelce as well. But how well do they do against good tight ends in coverage? Well, maybe not as good as you would like. Let's start off with this play, and the reality is they haven't gone up against another, really one of these great tight ends, I would say. They did against George Kittle just last week, but that was a little bit weird where obviously they didn't have a quarterback to throw him the ball. But one of the, best recent examples I could think of was when they played Dallas, and it was Dalton Schultz was kind of the guy, and I thought Schultz had an okay game. The statistics weren't amazing or anything, but this is definitely something that I think there is some yards here that they can exploit. On this play, it's a very basic play. It's zone coverage, and you're going to have Schultz try to run and get into a gap in coverage, behind the linebackers. That's what his job is here. Right when this play begins, it is going to be TJ Edwards, the guy who, again, is Pro Football Focus's 7th highest ranked linebacker, and I wouldn't say he's doing a bad job necessarily, but maybe isn't giving Schultz the respect that he deserves. Maybe you want to play a little bit more aggressive. And again, just someone has to pay a bit more attention to Dalton Schultz. He's a very good tight end and someone you should be focused on more over the middle. It's not a terrible play, but you better believe when Travis Kelce gets to town, you have to really be focused. Because watch as Schultz just does have the speed to get by Edwards on that play and pick up a decent chunk play. Again, if you're a linebacker, you lose in coverage sometimes. That's just what it is. I'm not expecting him to win every single matchup. He's a good player. I'm not trying to say he's not, just that you can beat him. Also, this play was kind of a weird one. This is Kaiser White, who's going to be playing in man this time. So again, if they're going to play man coverage, someone's going to have to man up against Kelce. I would think they might even go safety there, but typically they don't. Typically, they do just go with a linebacker on a tight ends. Again, that's what they're doing here with Dalton Schultz, who I get it, he's not Kelce. The rules change when it's Kelce, but still, he is a very good tight end. You have Kaiser White, who's going to be trying to cover him one-on-one. But look at how when this play begins, again, it almost feels like they're just saying, oh, it's a tight end. I can give him a little bit of space because I can catch up. But with Schultz, he's just a fast enough tight end. You can't really make this mistake. Watch as Prescott does hit Schultz, and Schultz is able to pick up a decent chunk play there. It feels like they're not fully, again, respecting Schultz on this play, and maybe that's okay. Maybe you just say, you know what? Okay, they underestimated Schultz. No one's going to underestimate Travis Kelce. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. We know what he is. However, let's go over here, because while we say that, far too often we still see teams underestimate Travis Kelce, don't give him the respect that he deserves. This play is one of my favorite examples of this, where it's like, if you see Travis Kelce blocking, don't believe it. Still pay attention to him. If you end up having to pay attention to him and he was just blocking and you had an extra guy on Kelce, that's okay. You'll live with that. Every rep that Kelce ends up just blocking is still a good rep, even if you have a guy in coverage on him. But on this play, okay, it's zone coverage, but he's just blocking, tight end blocking. He's not going to do anything. But of course, he's eventually going to run a route, try to get into a gap in coverage, which he does better than any tight end in football, maybe better than any receiver in football. He's, amazing at this. Look at how when this play begins, you see that Kelce on this play, as he starts to peel off, nobody picks him up. And this is just something that you would think this would never happen, right? You would think that every single time Travis Kelce is in the game, someone is paying attention to 87. Everyone's paying attention to 87. You would think that 7 guys are constantly on him, and that lets other guys get open, and every now and then that does happen. But far more often, it feels like people just lose him. And again, it's because Andy Reid still says, hey, we're going to try and see if we can get him to, get people to not pay attention to him. We're going to do these things, even though I think some coaches would say, well, no one's going to fall for that. Andy Reid says, no, people fall for that, and we're going to try to trick them. Mahomes hits a wide open Travis Kelce. Kelce's so good in open space. He gets into the end zone for a touchdown. You just have to be careful with that. You have to treat Travis Kelce like he is an elite wide receiver. You view it like Randy Moss is coming to town. That's really how you view it, of like, he is the guy, and our game could be won or lost depending on how we handle him, so we got to make sure we handle him. But again, going over here, that's easier said than done. And again, Andy Reid will scheme stuff up that very, it's kind of a traditional coverage, cover 3 zone. The Bengals are being a bit weird of how they disguise this one, but still, very basic concept. You have a receiver try to just push the corner deep, and then Kelce, he's the route that I've circled in white at the end of the route. He tries to get sort of outside the numbers, get open there. Look at how when Mahomes takes the snap, I mean, you see Kelce gets wide open. This is him getting schemed open right here, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, typically, if this wasn't Travis Kelce, I'd say, well, yeah, it was just a good play call there. But when it's Travis Kelce, you just have to pay more attention, and teams just, again, it feels so simple to say, you just got to pay more attention, but Andy Reid's going to trick you at times. You have to be so focused on him. As you see, Kelce makes the grab and then does great work in open space as well, because again, he's not just a threat to catch the ball, he's a threat to move after he catches the ball. So for the Eagles, again, personnel-wise, they got some guys who you feel okay about, right? Like TJ Edwards is pretty good, and I think that he could win some reps against Kelce, and even Kaiser White, I think, could win some reps against Travis Kelce, but he's Travis Kelce. I don't think it's a total coincidence that one of the rare times I saw Travis Kelce really have a bad day was, the last time he was in a Super Bowl against Levante David. He was not able to, to do much until sort of the end of the game when they started just, playing prevent defense. And because of that, you saw how much Mahomes struggled. If you can find a way to, if not replicate that, at least get close to that, I think the Eagles win this game. I just don't know how possible that is. So my final score for this video, you see the ones I have above. I've made videos on now the Eagles offensive line against the Chiefs defensive line and vice versa. The Eagles running game, some sort of Chiefs analytics stuff, the Eagles secondary, and now Travis Kelce. It's a scale of 1 to 4, and who do I have the advantage going to? I think for the matchup, and again, I'm just talking matchups here. I'm not talking, anything else. Travis Kelce's just so good. He's a matchup nightmare, no matter who he's going up against. I think the Eagles are actually okay, and it's kind of a compliment that it's only +3 instead of +4, because usually Travis Kelce against most teams would be a +4 out of 4, but in this scenario, the Eagles, I think, will limit him a little bit, but he's Travis Kelce. I think he'll find ways to get yards, and I really do think that this game could be won or lost on Travis Kelce. I actually think that feels likely to me, that it could come down to if Travis Kelce could have a big day or not, maybe even a huge day or not. But if you're betting against Travis Kelce having a big day, might not be the safest bet. But at the same time, like I said, Eagles have some guys who can come in and play, and maybe you even use a safety to have some good safeties as well who can come in and play. But yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. If you like movies, check out my movie review channel. Every single movie title you see on the screen, I have a video about coming out within the next 2 weeks. I'm uploading a video every day for 2 weeks, so definitely make sure you're subscribed there. The link is in the description below. I got some other stuff on there too, some like breakdowns of certain scenes I like and things like that, so check it out.